Welcome everyone to the special council meeting, July 29th, here at 5:30. Proceeding over to this meeting is our mayor, Robert Odekirk.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Hug. Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is public comments. First is Mashana Mitchell.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I want you guys to look at these pictures I have. These are pictures of Eric and his family, his siblings, his children, his graduation. His life mattered. It really did. If you guys have not taken the time, you say you want an investigation, you want to get to the bottom of this, you are here to serve the people of Joliet. We're the constituents, the people that live here. That's the reason you guys are here. If you have not written a letter, if you have not called to ask for and demand a transparent, independent investigation, you need to do so because you work for us. You are here to serve the people of this community, and you are failing to do so. And I want you guys to all think long and hard, if it was your loved one, how you would feel, what you would be doing, and to what ends you would go to ensure that everybody was held accountable. We are not gonna stop. We're gonna be in these streets, and everybody, we're watching when you're up for re-election. We're watching everything you do in this community, and not just us. We posting it, we making sure everybody knows. So you guys will be held accountable. And when you guys consider the next city manager, I hope you know that the Lurry family, we all watching you. This community, we all watching you. And we're gonna be watching who you guys are putting in that seat. I've been looking over reports, and the sad part about some of these officers, they've had complaints. They've had complaints over the last 3 years, not old stuff, within the last 3 years. Why in the world were they allowed to still be out on the streets? You guys have a duty with this next city manager to make sure this does not happen again, to make sure that that police department is cleaned up. And it's interesting that even with all the reports that they did give me, how much stuff they left out. I can only imagine the other complaints that they don't want us to know about. You guys, city council members, you have a duty, and we are calling you to the carpet right now today and demanding you do your job.
Thank you.
Candace Quinterly.
So last week, I talked about the progress of the police reform proposals that were put in front of you guys, and no one commented on it, so I did some investigating myself. The original 13-point document that I mentioned at last week's meeting that we read off here, it was presented to Steve Jones, who listened, delivered feedback, told us what the next steps would be. That was June 11th. He also indicated that some points would need to be approached at the state level because you guys couldn't handle that. You guys didn't have the authority to do it. For example, the requiring ongoing certification of officers. That same proposal was also presented to Mayor Odekirk and Officer Lakota. And it was met with a little bit of resistance from the mayor and Lakota on points like chokeholds, civilian oversight, and requiring certification. I do want to make a note on chokeholds. They are banned statewide, however, Lakota did say that sometimes they are still necessary. Hard copies of the proposal were left with Jones, Odekirk, and Lakota. On June 15th, Jones shared the document with City Council, and they shared an updated version with hyperlinks to examples and sources on June 17th. On June 18th, Larry Hug responded with some questions, and Steve Jones did respond, but let me provide some further clarification for you. Mr. Hug, you asked, doesn't JPD currently ban chokeholds? The answer is yes, and state law currently bans chokeholds. They're sometimes still necessary. A ban is meant to be a ban, not a rule with some exceptions. You said, we already do random drug testing, correct? That is correct, but there appears to be no consequence in place when someone tests positive. For example, Officer Thomas Bannis tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, along with Officers Nicholas Crowley and Nicholas Emilio in 2018. I asked Chris Regis about this instance in a meeting on June 29th, and he essentially told us that it's nearly impossible to fire a cop in Illinois and that the union helped protect their employment. There are random drug tests, but there's no disciplinary procedure in place if and when someone tests positive. You also said, Mr. Hugg, the reason crime has consistently decreased is due to the programs and personnel that the budget supports. Defunding police would lead to increase in crime. First, the police largely do not prevent crime, they respond to it. Second, defunding the police doesn't mean less police, it means stop giving them so much money. I don't believe that the people becoming officers should do it for the money. JPD is one of the highest paid departments in Illinois and well over the national average. When asked about the $10 million increase, Chris Regis flat out said it went to pay increases. In the words of JPD's own officer, Stephen Bowe, who's been with the department since 2014, if the money wasn't so good, I would have moved years ago. Third, the police absolutely need to be defunded if a nearly $6 million budget can't pay for body cams or even put dash cams in all of the squad cars. As it stands, Mayor Odekirk has said that body cams have been discussed in the past, but they're too expensive. And just 70 of over 200 squad cars have dash cams, and as we've seen from released video, the ones we have either do not work properly or are purposely being misused. Police are often called for issues that they're ill-equipped to handle, such as helping with the homeless or those with mental illness, and there's logic to having those experts around to work in partnership with the police. The best way to keep our communities safe and address police brutality is not by spending more on policing, but instead by investing in jobs, education, and health care. We need to seriously look at cutting the police budget and directing those funds to public programs that will support the working class and poor folks, the people who are disproportionately affected by over-policing. So while the City Council may not have the power to put money directly into the school system, you do have the power to reinvest into our own community. And here we are on July 28th, still twiddling our thumbs. We're not moving any reform through. I do have the other documents that the pastors did present as well. Is this not a priority for the City Council of Joliet?
Thank you, ma'am.
Clyde McLemore.
Good evening, council members and mayor. Now, y'all wonder why, what kind of stake I got in the game. The justice here is justice anywhere. I got stake in it. Not here for no fame, no fortune, nothing like that. I was here Sunday, and we was protesting. And first of all, shut down means cease or cause something to cease business or operation cease. Bring to an end. On July 4th, 2020, Summer Taylor was killed in Seattle as she did a peaceful protest and a driver plowed through the crowd. On July 8th, protesters in Indiana and New York was injured as a driver plowed into the crowd, protesters. Drivers have hit protesters 66 times since May 27 around this country. Now, I understand that there was a permit given. All I know is I just came to support the protests on Sunday. A protest is a statement of action expressing disapproval or objection to something. On Sunday, I came here to Joliet to support this community and the family of Eric Lurry. This disapproval of your prolonged action of this city for Eric to receive justice. Again, the First Amendment allows this family to express the freedom of speech in a peaceful assembly. We was very peaceful out there. The Joliet police cars allow cars to drive past while women and children was in the streets. That's not a protest. That's the police leading. Because their car, somebody could have been, well, I'm not with this, and plowed into it. So we had to stop. I actually, because I was doing the call, stopped the march and told the men, get on the side. The police, all they was worried about, if we go over this line. No, y'all supposed to stop the traffic out there. That's what a protest is. And you being an ex-police officer, I know you know how it go. They supposed to stop the traffic. Stuff shut down. It wasn't that many people, wasn't but 100 people out there. That was enough to shut down. That was enough to shut down. We did a die-in where we prayed in the middle of the street. They actually, when we did the circle in the middle of the street, they had cars still coming around. Now, what if one of them cars, or maybe just to say they wasn't even prejudiced and wanted to just hit us, what if the car messed up and they couldn't turn? Accidents, that's why they call them accidents. Shit happens. There was no safety out there. The police led the march, and that wasn't a protest. That was some shit that y'all put together.
You're on public TV if you can watch the
Okay, well, that was some stuff y'all put together that allowed us. That was not no protest. Sir, a protest is a protest, and we're discouraged with the actions that this city has done as far as these people, because it was women and children out there, and there was no safety out there. If there was safety, they supposed to protect us from any risk of danger. The police led us into danger. There will be more protests until justice is served. And is the city desire to send the police out there? Can they send the police to protect the protesters and not lead them into danger? And perhaps you could send police that look like the protesters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susanna Ibarra.
Good evening. We could be anywhere on this beautiful summer day, and here we are again. 7th week in a row that we're here. The mayor won't even look up. I've watched him for more than half of this discussion with his head down. So, Terry, you could sit up and act like you actually care. Everyone else is sitting up and acting like they actually care. I want to thank Jan, actually. Jan, you're sitting in Sherry's seat, so it threw me for a second, but you did raise your hand that you cared about Black lives, so I do want to thank you for that. I was very critical of you last week, but you're the only one that had the courage to raise their hand, so thank you for that. We have presented proposals. We have, these were experts that wrote these proposals. A 24-year-old young Hispanic man from Joliet with a bachelor's degree in political science, Joliet's finest, who graduated at the top of his class, wrote the first 8 of these proposals. Candace, with all of her expertise, wrote an exhaustive, something like a total of 14. These people put time, talent, and efforts into this that could be anywhere else in the world. They were here caring about this community. So I really ask that you really give some consideration to those proposals. They were written with a lot of expertise and skill. Does anyone have an answer as far as a future meeting to talk about them? Does anyone want to talk to the authors at all? No? Okay. Good. Well, their time, talent, and effort wasn't wasted, because we'll be here and we'll continue to be here. And for the mayor, I was just trying to thank Lakota the last time. I wasn't trying to cause trouble. So the fact that I called you a jerk, I want to apologize for that. I am sorry for that. See how easy that is to admit when you did something wrong and apologize? Like May 31st?
Thank you.
Melissa Boatman.
This is my bag. I don't know if you guys can really see it, but I just started with the Will County Rapid Response Team, and we've been around for about 2 months, going around and engaging the community. We've been distributing Narcan and listening to the needs of the community. Next month, I hope to have my team leader here to maybe come and introduce the program. Basically, in order to reach as many people as possible that might be at risk for an opioid overdose, we launched the Rapid Response Narcan program team. And it's a team of recovery coaches that distribute Narcan to high-risk areas in Will County. And teams of 2 work the hot spots and other high-risk areas in Joliet. We leave behind materials that can be distributed for locations for treatment. We offer peer support and, most importantly, Narcan. And I would also like to maybe, hopefully, make it more available for Joliet and, whatever programs or committee. I'm not sure I guess my question for the city council would be, what committee could I bring this to talk to them about?
Public safety.
Public safety?
Yeah.
Okay, and when would be their next meeting?
Excuse me, we're having over here, Jan, hi.
Oh, hi.
Public safety and legislative are having a joint meeting together a week from this Thursday. And, but we're gonna be talking about other things. We could possibly put that on the agenda, but I would rather it be on another time we can focus more on that. Because this agenda has not been totally set yet.
Okay, so,
So the meeting after that would, we'll go from there, okay? After we have that meeting, we'll go from there. I'll bring it up under new business, and then we can go from there.
okay, so
Okay.
1 week from Thursday, you'll bring it up under new business.
Right, it will be on the website. The agenda has not been posted yet because it has not been finalized.
Okay.
But we can briefly talk about it at
like
the end.
48 hours before that or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it'll be within the next couple of days,
Okay,
okay?
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vincent Alessio?
Hello, Mayor and council members. I want to thank you for allowing us to speak today. First and foremost, I kind of want to summarize what I'm going to get into. I support much of what has been said already. And I also want to explicitly say some of the proposals I mentioned here and talk about them. Being body cameras are essential, but it's not going to do everything. Body cameras, just like some of the other surveillance footage, can be manipulated. I don't think it's just our city that happens in, it happens everywhere. Also, I want to say, as a white person, I believe Black Lives Matter, and I think it's important that everybody comes forward and says it. In our country, and in our city specifically, Black people have been systematically oppressed with housing discrimination in Joliet in the name of redlining. And today, I want to talk about a problem that's specifically right in our face, one that we can no longer shove aside, and it's completely heartbreaking. A man dying in the custody of EMS services is a fundamental failure in our system. Many rationalizations have been made to as why this has occurred, including from police command staff. This brings us to the underlying problem our police department and many police departments around the country have. Without a whistleblower coming forward in this case, many of us, and I'll put myself in this, may not know about this incident completely. The incident that now has several police officers on desk duty, and unfortunately, one of them being the whistleblower. This right here is the fundamental systemic problem in our system. Officers, and there are many good ones, including many family and friends that I have are in law enforcement. Many of them are good, but they do not feel comfortable to speak against the powerful people at the top of the police system or the law enforcement system largely. And unfortunately, in our case, we see why. When officers like this whistleblower speak up against improper police procedures and illegal behavior, their treatment, again, unfortunately, is often worse than the officers committing the offenses. This is no different across the country, and unfortunately no different in our hometown of Joliet. In the name of intimidating future courageous and decent officers, the Joliet Police Department has set a tone with the treatment of this whistleblower. The family of Eric Lurry and us citizens deserve a police force that prioritizes safety of residents and justice over the desire to criminalize behaviors and suppress dissidents within a department. Currently, we see the latter, we see a department evading accountability, tampering with evidence, losing evidence of on-site video after a 3-month cycle at the police station, favorable treatment for particular officers. We see a command staff that meddles in city politics to further entrench their influence and sphere. What can we do? How do we move forward? We must assess what policies best address the city's problem. Everyone knows that poverty is the single greatest factor when it comes to criminal behavior. That's true in Joliet, that's true in Chicago, that's true everywhere in the country, that's true in Europe, it's true in Africa, it's true everywhere. The areas of high concentrations of poverty are inextricably linked to crime. The police department budget.
Thank you.
Gary Hervey.
How you doing, Mayor, Council? Is the Chief of Police here?
No, is he here tonight? Our department head's here?
I don't believe so.
That's you know what's disturbing? How does he even still have a job?
Right.
How does he, everybody wants to harp on the mayor, but he doesn't control the police department. The chief does. How does he even still have a job? And with women sitting on this city council for what they did to that officer with that revenge porn scheme, y'all should have been the first to call for him to be fired. Nobody should have had to go through that. Not a single person. Again, since he has been in office, how much money has he cost the city? Name one job where you can cost somebody $1 million and you still get to keep it. It's disturbing. And then y'all having these backdoor meetings. Who were the officers that were involved in that scandal involving this officer? Why are they only referred to as John Doe? So this is what y'all asking us to do. Give us $1 million. We can't tell you what we need it for. It's for some people that we can't name, but we need to take care of a problem. How does that sound? Like, come on, man, get it together. The city council has the power to get rid of the chief of police. Do your job. It has to start there. How do you get rid of a whistleblower, but you allow this conduct to go on and nobody says anything? Make it make sense. And also, he was trying to do some things when he found out the police department was out of control. And I kept remembering reading, the vote was always 5-4. Why is that? You had a city manager who was helping save us money. He was well aware of the problem, but yet and still the people who should have had voices for us didn't have voices for us. The chief of police needs to be fired. And he needs to either be fired or resign. And the officers that have been involved in this Lurry case, the case involving the officer with the revenge porn, need to be disciplined and fired.
Yes.
Make it make sense. And something else. They went to a judge 3 different times to get a warrant to violate this woman's rights, to violate her privacy. 2 judges denied it. And then you just, tooth and nail, go to another one. Not only do you not find any conduct of wrongdoing, y'all find some private photos of whatever she had going on and decide to spread it across the department, and nobody has a problem with that? The city council got the power to get rid of the chief. Do your job and get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Shame on them.
Good Lord.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
How y'all doing? After I left this meeting first of all, I'll just go right into it. After I left the meeting last week, I tried to put some things together, and I wonder why certain things was happening. And meeting a deputy chief by the name of Chief Gavin, and then to sit here and hear that it's a Gavin sitting on this board, I can understand why things are messed up around here. I would protect my own as well.
Come on.
The cover-up ain't just at the police station.
Right, right.
It's sitting right in front of you.
Yes, sir.
It's sitting right here in front of you.
Yes, sir.
She's to the left of me,
Yes, she is.
probably to the right of you guys.
Come on now.
And she has the last name of Gavin.
Uh-huh.
But Deputy Chief Gavin sat there and lied to us
Yes, he did.
in a room where the family was at, and we watched a video
Come on.
that was narrated. That wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be an unedited video,
Yes.
but it was anything but unedited. It was edited all the way through. I'm gonna piggyback off of what they said. Sergeant Doug May is still using police material at the department.
Come on.
He's still sitting at his desk while you have the other officer on desk duty in front of the public, shaming him and humiliating him.
Right.
Again, it's the message that you're sending to people. I had a conversation last week to a gentleman about what perception is. It's 90% of reality. When you do things like this, you set a tone for the village. You set a tone for the community. I think this is a great community. Me personally, I have no problem with the mayor here. That's me personally, with dealing with the Eric Lurry's case. You guys need to come forward and expose these people as though they are. We have a letter. We will email it to each and every one of you if you need it. That was sent off to Kwame Raoul on yesterday. These are things that we're doing to take place to get answers. But every time we come to this meeting, every time we sit behind doors, we get the same story. We don't see anything wrong with the video. But on yesterday, I spoke to a decorated officer, and so did Miss Lurry, who been on the police force for 11 years. And I asked him a question. I said, how many complaints have you got in 11 years? He has none. I followed that up with going to his department and finding out with a FOIA. The gentleman has no complaints in 11 years. He was on the TAC team. He was on every team imaginable in a very violent city where people can make complaints all day, every day. What I would like to know at this point, what was Doug's May background? How many complaints did he have? Why isn't he fired? Why is he should not be on desk duty. He should be on non-paid leave until this investigation is over. This is like a paid vacation. It needs to stop. It needs to stop immediately. At our protests that we had, we was met with a lot of resistance for a so-called peaceful protest. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening?
I want you councilmen and women to know that you have messed with the wrong family. This is the Lurry family. We will not stop until we get what we want. Justice for Eric B.J. Lurry. You know what's right. You know what you haven't done right. And we will not stop until we get justice for Eric B.J. Lurry.
Thank you.
Say his name.
Eric
Say his name.
Eric Lurry.
What we want.
Justice.
And if we don't get it,
No peace.
if we don't get it,
No peace.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
One speaker, 4 minutes. 4 minutes, one speaker.
oh, one speaker?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Brittany Kim, and I'd like to rescind this time to the gentleman that would like to speak.
Man, we don't do that for city ordinance.
Robert's Rules of Order.
per city's ordinance. Sorry, Jerry, we're not gonna do that. Thank you.
I think this is a great example of why the constituents of Joliet choose to come out here week after week, month after month, because our justices continue to be infringed upon by people who think they are more powerful than the people that choose to elect you into service. So know that we are watching, know that we will be back, and know that we will continue to bring this city public and justice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? Seeing none, is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hogg?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried.